We began the show celebrating sport in South Africa. We saw what winning the World Cup did last year to the Springboks and just the outpouring in that country. Well, similar kind of stuff, not to the same level, but similar kind of stuff after Du Plessis won his UFC title on the weekend. Philasande Sixaba is from SuperSport. Let's talk to him about it. Congratulations again, and this is starting to stick in the craw. I better not be saying this when we play you in the cricket test, but South African sport celebrating again because Dricus Du Plessis won the middleweight UFC title. I've been following your Twitter. I've been following the news in South Africa. This is a big, big story, isn't it?
It's massive, Martin. I mean, when you think about it, he's the first South African to hold a UFC title. It's massive. You know, I think South Africans love to make history, whatever sporting code there is. And I think for Dricus to go all the way in Canada and bring back the title was a special moment for not only for him, but for the entire country. It's actually mental what sport does for South Africans and how they really enjoy and rally behind whatever sporting code, whatever individual, whatever team goes out and tries to make some history and make some glory for South Africa. So it's huge. And there were so many watch parties that I saw as early as 4 a.m. People were gathering in Pretoria, all across the country to watch that fight. And it was a special moment for South Africa and for Dricus.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. That, you know, is it too presumptive to say that sport seems to be the one thing that really unites your country at the moment? We saw the extraordinary pictures after winning both of the last World Cups, but the last one particularly. And now this, and it doesn't matter what colour your skin is, what nationality you are, that sport seems to be able to break down those barriers. Am I reading too much into this or not?
No, absolutely, Martin. I think, you know, you would have, both of us are big rugby fans, and we would have seen most of the Springbok players speak about, you know, it's the one thing that really unites everyone in South Africa. And they aren't wrong, you know, it's one thing that South Africans really band over, they bond over, they forget about their worries over, and that's sport. And it's got this tremendous power that it has that breaks down so many barriers in South Africa. There's a lot of ills in South Africa that go wrong, but I think it's one thing that South Africans don't even question when it comes to sport. You know, whether sporting code it is, whatever individual that represents South Africa in a sport, they rally behind that. And I think it's one of the blessings that this country has in terms of, you know, unity and achieving that is through sport. And it's amazing to see some of the pictures that have come from this weekend, let alone what came out from the Springboks win last year. So it's just beautiful to see, always beautiful to see that.
Look, I saw, Rassie Rasmus posted a real big tribute to her. I couldn't understand it because it was all in Afrikaans, but I'm sure that Dricus could actually, translate that. And look, and he was just one of many.
He was one of many. You know, the sports minister was also in congratulatory mood for Dricus. There's so many people that rallied behind Dricus. It's special, you know. I think mixed martial arts in South Africa is not even the biggest sport. You know, it's quite an elite sport. It's quite a secluded and a very small sport in terms of its popularity and the number of people that actually follow the sport. But people don't even have to understand what's going on in the sport. They know that it's a South African on a world stage that's representing the country, and they rally behind that. And I think that's the unique thing about South Africa, is that whatever circumstance, whatever the individual, whatever the team, the country rallies behind that person and really gets behind them and gives them that support and that moral support and that extra sort of motivation to go out there and achieve history. Rassie was basically saying that he was very proud of Dricus and what he's been able to do and been able to achieve. It's all in Afrikaans, but I also understand a little bit of it. So I try to make out what was being said there. But it's just amazing to see the support that Dricus Du Plessis achieved and enjoyed this past weekend.
Philasande Sixaba, who's from SuperSport, and we talk to you normally about rugby, and he provided some fantastic thoughts and just general chat during the Rugby World Cup, and we hope to catch up all this year. Of course, we've got the South African team here. Well, we're calling it a D team, the cricket team that's arrived here for a couple of tests. But the Kiwi connection is that Dricus has already called out our man Israel Adesanya and wants to fight him, and that, you know, to be the true African champion. So I know there's a lot of verbiage and a lot of words go back and forth between these guys, and a lot of it is theatre as well. But I think that here, especially now, we've got another, you know, New Zealand versus South Africa, All Black versus Boca thing happening.
Yeah. I think it might be a special fight, you know, and a lot of people want it to happen, and a lot of people are wanting it to happen on the African continent, whether it's in Nigeria, whether it's in South Africa, and I feel like it's something that should happen, and that's going to happen. I heard Dana White was saying that they really are considering an MMA event in South Africa, in Africa this year. So hopefully we can see an Israel Adesanya versus Dricus Du Plessis fight somewhere on the continent. It's going to be huge. And Dricus's win this past weekend has just done so much for the popularity of the sport in South Africa over the next sort of 48 hours since he's won the title. So it's going to do wonders, and hopefully again, for the first time of asking, can defend that middleweight title. So it's special, you know. These rivalries are always special, whether it's individuals, whether it's teams, and it wouldn't be any less when Israel Adesanya and Dricus Du Plessis meet in the octagon. So really hoping that happens, and really hoping that it happens in South Africa.
You're still going through the power cuts. Last time I spoke to you, there was a 2-hour power cut, and you just have to wear it and bear it. Is that still happening?
Yeah, mate, it's still part of our lives, you know. It's kind of disappointing that it's something that is part of our lives. You know, it's one of those things that the government is trying hard to try and make it a thing of the past. There's elections this year, so hopefully whoever is elected into power this year can sort out that massive problem that has plagued South Africa for a number of years now. It's over a decade that we've had load shedding. So let's hope that, you know, the new government that will be in place from this year onwards and can sort out some of those ills that South Africa goes through. But yeah, it's quite a hindrance, but I think it's something that South Africans have tried to build resolve over, and try and make it as manageable as possible.
Always a pleasure catching up, my friend. We'll talk again soon.
Always a pleasure, Martin.